My mother got accused of trying to kill me when I was a baby, and it was caught on tape. I mean, just growing up without a mom, you know, I couldn't do like those motherly things with her. When I was growing up, going to school, a lot of people didn't believe me that I didn't have a mom. They were like, oh, you're just joking. Or when they did realize that I didn't have a mom, I always got picked at because my dad was always there in the picture. I remember in elementary school, we had to do Mother's Day crafts, and I would always make them for my dad. And it was very upsetting because all the kids would laugh at me, and, you know, because I didn't have a mom. So when I was 13 years old, I started Googling myself. And the first couple articles came up was Alabama woman smothering her child. And me being me, I clicked on it, and it was just, you know, it said my name, like my full name, and I was just stunned there, shocked. And we were in a school computer lab, so everyone's gathering around me, and I'm just like, you know, this can't be real. This is not happening. I kept reading more. I read that she tried to smother me with her hand and over my nose and mouth. And I read about the case, about I was dead for a couple minutes. I was pronounced dead for a couple minutes. And while other people are looking at me like, oh my gosh, your mother's crazy. And I ran to the bathroom crying because I couldn't believe what I just read. When I got home that night, my dad didn't really talk about it too much. He says that we'll talk about it when you get older. I mean, obviously, I'm still looking it up, still reading about everything. My mother was charged with attempted murder, but she pled guilty to child abuse. So I found out that my mom had a child before me who died, and whenever I would bring that up to my dad when I was younger, he didn't say anything. He's like, oh, well, he was very sick. He died. That was about it. He was very sick and he died. He didn't tell me that, you know, my case and his case were linked. His death was from seizures, but it was kind of like the same seizures that I was having, where they would link our case saying it was both by smothering. I was 16 years old when I got in contact with my mother, and, you know, I was happy I finally found my mother, and I'm talking to her, and it was just so surreal. Like, I would talk about her about everything. And then I didn't finally get to meet her until I was 19 years old. And when I met her for the first time, we bawled. We stand there, we were bawling our eyes out. I never really saw her other than photos, and it was just an overwhelming sensation. And she said that she wasn't trying to smother me, she was trying to put a binky in my mouth at the time. And that, you know, it was a big whole misunderstanding with the hospital at the time. She told me that she had to give up her right to see me. I did believe her because, you know, she's a mom. I mean, I do have some doubt, don't get me wrong. I mean, I feel like everyone would if you have two sides of the story because you don't know which one's real or which one's true, which one's not true. If my mom fails, I don't think we'll have that, you know, relationship that she wants and what I want of having that mother-daughter relationship. And it's, you know, I feel very bad for my son because he loves his grandmother so much. He will go to her open arms and like smile and hug and give her kisses. He loves her. But at the same time, I have to be that mother and like make sure that my son comes first and be safe.
Stephanie, did you try to kill your daughter in 2001?
No, absolutely not. What happened was she was in ICU. We took her to the hospital. She was sick. She had RSV, upper respiratory infection that babies get, okay. And they say older people can get it as well. We took her to the hospital, and we never mentioned seizures, so I don't know where they got seizures from. They told me when they moved her to the private room that they had a camera in there to monitor her, to make sure that she didn't have any more breathing issues or anything like that. I mean, I knew the whole time that there was a camera in there. You know, it would be crazy to try to suffocate their child knowing that there's a camera in there. And I'm not crazy. What they told me was my hand was cut off from view. And I was rocking her like this. I had my arm across her back because I was supporting her. I had my two fingers holding a pacifier in her mouth. And they said that because her cry was muffled, that it appeared that my hand could have been over her mouth. I got 2 years in jail or in prison, which I had already served a year.
Right.
So I only had to do 11 months in prison, and then I got 10 years probation, but they ended up taking me off probation after 2 years.
Yeah. How long after you got out of prison till you saw your daughter again?
17 years.
During those 17 years, I mean, how hard was it not?
It was very difficult. Not being there for her birthdays or Christmas. Not knowing if she was okay. Not being there when she's hurting. And then now finding out that she was bullied because she didn't have a mother is very heartbreaking.
Yeah. When and how did you reconnect with her?
I drove up to Pennsylvania to meet her, and it was it was bittersweet. It was tearful. She's amazing. She has the kindest heart.
When you're backstage and when you're listening to your mother tell the story, what runs through your mind?
I got told 2 different stories, so like I'm trying to piece together.
2 different stories by whom? One by your mother and then one by...
My dad.
Okay.
So I'm trying to like.
What'd your dad tell you?
He did tell me that she did try to smother me, and I was pronounced dead for a couple minutes, and that I was starting to turn blue. I wasn't breathing, and that doctors came in and they rushed me the CPR.
So when you're growing up and your mom's not around, where did you think your mom was?
I didn't think she loved me. I thought that she left because that's what my dad says. He always says that she left. He never told me that, like, obviously she didn't love me, but it was
Did
just,
you know she was in prison at all?
No, I did not know she was in prison.
Now you go on, and you have one son?
Yes, I have one son. You know, when I found out I was pregnant, I was very, I was obviously very scared because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. And it was very, like, especially with my mom, because like I said in the tape, like I had a panic attack when he was first born. And just the thought of leaving him alone with her just
Scares you.
It did. It very much did so. I mean, she didn't do it. Why didn't she try to fight for me?
I did. I hired an attorney, baby, and y'all kept moving. Your dad kept moving, and I kept begging him to see you, and he never would let me see you.
I mean, Mom, even back with the trials, you pled guilty, and...
I know, and the reason I pled guilty is because my attorney said that I had such bad publicity that I wouldn't get a fair trial, and that if I pled guilty, at least I would get to see you, because that was a condition of our divorce, is supervised visitation, and I didn't want to take a chance of never getting to see you again.
Mom, it's not even about me, it's also my brother. I mean, when my dad hired that private investigator, he said that you didn't go in the ambulance. He talked to EMTs that night.
Yeah, I was in the ambulance, sweetie.
Like, it's very all, like, I'm getting two sides of the story, and I have to pick and choose which ones I have to believe.
Stephanie, are you now withholding vital information about your son's death in 1996 that you are afraid to share? You answer no. Did you cause the death of your son in 1996? You answered no. Did you ever fabricate illness about your daughter, Alicia, to gain attention for yourself? You answered no. Did you smother your daughter, Alicia, in 2001 with your hand? You answered no. Did you attempt to kill your daughter, Alicia, in the hospital in order to get attention for yourself? You answered no. The results came back the same to each one of those 5 questions, and it came back that Stephanie told the truth.
Well, I mean, I knew I was telling the truth. I knew I didn't have anything to hide.
But still, it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And I give you credit for that. At least now you can move forward and start building memories now. Thank you for appearing on the show, and Good luck to both of you with your relationship.
I was raped.
My name is Steve Wilkos, and I'm an investigative talk show host with a law enforcement background.
It was my life or his.
My job is to get truth and justice for everyday people. Watch our videos now.